Hello, Warrior Nation. It's Nile Harris, and today I am talking to you about how to go from worrier to warrior. And before we get started, I would love it if you would take a moment to follow me at I am Nile Harris on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can also catch me on LinkedIn at Nile Harris. And of course, I'm on Clubhouse at I am Nile Harris. And take a moment to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, let's go ahead and dig in here with going from being a worrier to being a warrior. And there are four things that I want us to start doing right now, today. And I don't know when you're watching this, but it's the top of 2021. And we have just been through 2020. And we've also just been through quite a week in our nation's capital. And if you're feeling the anxiety like I am, and you're wondering when is this all going to stop, like I am, like most of us are, then you might be feeling a little bit more in your worry spirit than in your warrior spirit. And so here are four ways that we can help make that shift within ourselves. I have to do this every day. I'm practicing this every day. So first is I want you to identify the source of the worry. Now, what I do sometimes is I will be sitting somewhere and I'll be feeling anxious and I'm not exactly sure why. I'm not sure if it's tied to what I'm doing in the moment or if it's tied to something that happened last week or maybe an upcoming deadline. But I take a moment to dive into that feeling of anxiety and worry and really try to understand what the source of it is. If the source, for example, is an upcoming deadline, I just take a moment to recognize what about it is making me worried. Is it that I don't feel prepared? Is it that I don't like the project that I'm working on? Is it that it's a really big project and it's really important and I want to do well? Really understand what the source of that worry is about that particular thing, or it may be some particular things, right? It could really be more than one thing. So focus in on the source of the worry. Second thing I want you to do is to identify and separate fact from emotion. Don't let your emotions become your facts. Let's look at the example of an upcoming deadline. Now, you might be putting a lot of pressure on yourself because you want to do well, but the reality is your boss, your manager, your team may already think the world of you, and this pressure is really coming from you. Or maybe it's a big pitch for investment, right? And you've got to impress some folks. But you know your stuff. You made it into this room for a reason. Separate the fact from the fiction. The facts are you prepared? Do you know your stuff? Are you ready to do it? Do you have a great pitch? Or maybe you are worried about some other things that you want to really be sure that you're thinking of in a more holistic way, right? It might not be something as discrete or concrete as an upcoming project. Maybe, for example, like with COVID-19, when are you going to get vaccinated? Or maybe you have family members that are sick. Maybe there are some less tangible things that you can get your hands on that are causing you worry. And again, you want to separate the emotion from the reality of it. And the reality is you want vaccinations for your family. You want your family to be safe, or you want your kids to return to school. And you're looking for what those plans are and you're being patient. You absolutely can have the emotion. When I say separate the emotion from the fact, I don't mean don't have the emotion. I want you to go ahead and feel the emotion. I just want you to identify what is emotion and what is fact. But don't let your emotions become your facts. Third thing I want you to do is sit down and create a plan. Now, if we're talking about an upcoming project, an upcoming pitch, or something like that, what's the plan? Sit down and write down, okay, on Monday, I'm going to go back over my pitch, or I'm going to ask a friend to watch me give my presentation and get some feedback. Those, they're very simple, small things that you can do to address what came up for you in the second step. So if it was around, I don't feel prepared, or I just want to practice this some more, those are things that you can address. Isolate the facts and then address those. If it's more, again, about what those intangible things are, the things that are out of your control, and that's usually where we start to feel the worry and we start to move out of our warrior, is those things that we can't control. So we can't control COVID. We can't control like who gets the vaccine, and that causes a lot of angst. So what about situations where you don't have the control? Should you still make a plan? Yes. Why? Because it will actually make you feel better. If you can do sort of like a decision tree, if I can get the vaccine in the first 30 days, I'm going to go down there and take my kids. Or if I don't get the vaccine, I'm going to continue to shelter in place. If my kids go back to school, I'm going to, shift to working in the office more. You might have to make a decision tree, but you can still think through the what ifs and how you would kind of react in each situation. The act of writing down the plan and the act of actually thinking through the plan will quiet the worry. Okay? It will start to quiet it because your brain is actually bringing it up for a reason. Your brain, there's something there that in your subconscious knows is going on, and it wants your attention because there might be something you missed. I will never forget, I was in business school, and my team and I had been working with a group outside of the country. We had gone there, spent a month with them, come back, and we were putting together a huge presentation and consulting report for them. And I made all of the changes to the presentation that we were going to go through with them the next day. I send an email, here's the presentation, looking forward to meeting with you. Now, because they were in a whole other country, they were hours ahead. I went to sleep. It was probably 2 something in the morning. I went to sleep and I was jolted awake, straight up, sat in my bed. I was jolted awake. And there was this feeling of anxiety and dread. And I was like, what is this? And something kept saying to recheck the email. So I did. I went back to my computer, powered it on, looked at the sent email, and I had forgotten the attachment. And our meeting was actually like first thing that morning Eastern time zone. So it was going to be 8 a.m. in the Eastern time zone. This was 6 a.m. when I woke up. So my brain woke me up in the middle, like an hour before I probably would have gotten up, woke me up out of a solid sleep because my brain registered I had not attached the document. I didn't register it. So sometimes your brain is sending you a signal, it's sending you an alert, it's sending up the bat signal that it wants you to further examine what it's bringing up for you. Because there may be a solution there. It may have heard something, your subconscious may have heard something on television or observed something that you weren't really conscious of, but your subconscious was, and it's trying to alert you to it. So take a moment to examine that, because sometimes it's not actually worry. Sometimes it's your mind pushing something forward to you that it wants you to examine more. And then by examining it, that's just putting you in your warrior, right? Like, oh, so I felt like a rock star because then I jump on and I'm like, okay, we got 2 hours to go. I'm going to, attach the document. I said, apologies. I didn't attach the document. And later my teammate asked me, well, were you just up and checking the sent emails? How did you know you didn't attach the document? And when I told them that I woke up out of a stone cold sleep, focused on that email, they were like, wow, that's incredible. So just know that your mind takes in terabytes of data every minute that you are unaware of, but it might be pushing some things up to the surface for you to take a look at. The last thing I want you to do is work the plan. What did you write down? work that plan. I mean, it's really kind of simple. If you said you want to get feedback on your presentation, go get feedback on your presentation. Set up time with a friend or set up time with a mentor to do that. Hey, I'm worried about this presentation. Would love your feedback. You could be figuring out what the schedule is. You could go to the Department of Health website to find out what the schedule is to distribute vaccinations or to do testing, or that thing that's sort of out of your control. Get as much information about it so you can understand what choices and options might be available to you, so that whenever the thing reveals itself, you are ready to act. Because warriors might not always know what the next step holds, but they are always ready to act. Warriors stay ready, they don't get ready. So those were my 4 ways that we can transition ourselves in a moment from worry to warrior. But also over time, as you practice that, you will start to more become into your warrior. Your warrior spirit will start to sort of take over automatically. We're doing the sum of small things lead to big outcomes. So the more you practice these 4 things, the more you will activate your warrior. So at some point, then it will become automatic. You'll be sitting there, you might feel anxiety about something. Your warrior is going to step up and your warrior is going to say, I'm worried about this presentation and we need to schedule some time with Jane so Jane can give me some feedback on this presentation. And it will go just like that. And then you can go back, you'll make a note and you'll go back to what you were doing. So I hope that this was helpful. If it was, I hope you'll throw me a like and a share, comment below and mention this to your folks. And be sure that you are following me at I Am Nile Harris, where I'm sharing more great tips. I've got Hot Tip Tuesday. I've got Warrior Wednesdays. So I hope that you're sticking with me at I'm Nile Harris on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Clubhouse, and also on LinkedIn at I Am Nile Harris. And follow and subscribe to me on YouTube, and visit I Am Nile Harris to learn more about my coaching and business advising programs. And I will catch you back here next time, Warrior.